Hi, everybody. I'm Alex from Durango, Colorado, hosting The Art of Planting Your Life. We have our co-host today, Janice Sanders, as usual, but she has a special guest that Janice is going to introduce for us.
Hi, and welcome back to The Art of Planting Your Life. And this is my daughter, Katey Fetch, and she is a DiamondX speaker. She's attended 7 levels at the Sedona College of International Management, and she then left because she had a virus, a special virus, not the virus. She had a little baby girl named Ava, and that's really taken up a lot of her time, but Ava's now 15 months old, and Katey's joining us again. So thank you, Katey, and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, Katey. We wanted to have Ava on, but she's occupied with something else this morning. So another time, hopefully we can have the 3 generations of the Fetch family together. What we wanted to talk about, speaking of generations, is we wanted to talk about if you get enthusiastic about the seed system, what happens when you want to share it with the people that you care about because you find it's working for you, and then you want to share these great ideas with others. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not so easy. So we wanted to talk about our personal experiences and also some strategies, in case we do have problems, or how to keep from annoying people. So that's our topic for this show. And I wanted to start out first by asking Janice and Katey, how you guys, which one of you first heard about the seed system? I suppose one of you must have shared it with the other one.
Alex, that's true. The seed system, I'd never heard of it, but I was having a difficult time in my life. My youngest daughter had gone off to college, and I was an empty nester, and I felt like I'd lost the most important job in my life, and I was a bit depressed. So my daughter, Katey, interestingly enough, was the one who brought me to the seed system. She invited me to a presentation in Prescott, Arizona in 2011, and that's where I first heard about the pen. So thank you, Katey.
Great. And so Katey, was it easy to get your mom interested in it? And what about other people in your life? You want to tell us how that's gone for you?
It was really, I knew that the seed system would really help my mom at that point in her life and she would be open to it. But to get her to, I knew she couldn't hear it from me, first off. I was like, you just got to come to like a pen event, a DCI event, and listen to this guy talk about this thing because it'll really help you. And I don't know how we convinced her to come. I think me and my sister sort of teamed up because my sister had seen how much the seed system had helped me and my boyfriend at the time. And she was like, yeah, get mom to go. So we finally convinced her to go. Since then, I know I definitely, when I first heard about seeds, I was really excited and I wanted to tell everyone and their dog about it. And I think I definitely annoyed a lot of people, like just by, you gotta do this, you gotta try this. It's kind of like when you do a new diet, you're like, you have to try this. And nobody likes being told what to do. So at first I was overly enthusiastic and definitely annoyed some people.
So what about you, Alex? How did you first find the seed system?
Oh, well, interestingly enough, my friend Janice told me about it. So here we actually have 3 generations of people who've shared seeds with other people. And Janice invited me to come to an event. That's how that happened too. So she didn't really try to tell me anything about it. Actually, she just said, there's a cool thing. There's a cool thing. So apparently that's a good way to help people get interested. And now, of course, it's really the paradigm that I use for my whole life. When I first got really excited about it and started immersing myself in more study and just learning to practice it more, I was wanting to share it a lot with my boyfriend, with my partner. We lived together. And he did get tired of it very quickly and didn't, really connect with it that much. So I had to tone it down. I had to be careful to not, keep enthusiastically telling him what I was learning. And what I did instead was just focus on practicing it myself so that I could cut. In DCI, we have saying, to become a living example. So that's what I really tried to focus on in my personal life with my boyfriend, is apply it to my life, hopefully be a demonstration that it would work. And so now we're 5 or 6 years later from that point, and he is using it a lot in his life. He just, like, from osmosis in a way. But he did come to a lot of events. He has come to a lot of events along the way as well. But now he's always thinking about it, and he's making plans for success in his life by helping other people get the same thing. So it's just gradually become a part of our household, mostly for me focusing on using it myself. What about you, Janice? What experiences have you had sharing the system?
Well, when I first learned about it, I have to be honest, I didn't completely understand it, but I started making applications and I started talking about it way too soon, before I really fully understood the process. So I annoyed people. I did annoy, but then I got into the study and the practice, and really I do spend a lot of my time going to the Sedona College, trying to do events like the Art of Planning Your Life and other talks. And while I'm doing that, every time I do a talk, there's always something important that ends up being what I need and helping me in my personal life. Now I have businesses, and my employees come to me and ask me questions all the time, because I think by increasing my own personal understanding of how I'm creating my world, I'm applying it more, and I'm becoming a better example. And it just, now people start coming to me and asking me for help, rather than me just trying to, take this medicine, you'll like it, and then having them spit it out. So I think by becoming a better example, now it works that people want to know why it's working for me. How in this time of the virus, when my sales are down, how I still have faith that things are going to work out because I planted the right seeds. Meanwhile, I'm in the time gap, but things will work out because I trust in seeds. And my confidence, it seems like it spreads to my staff. So that's how I live it.
Great. One of the things I wanted to hear from Katey today, because how old is Ava now?
15 months.
Okay, so 15 months. In what ways have you been sharing the seed system with a toddler?
Just really small, because in small ways, which I think it's kind of like what she was saying, being an example of it yourself is so important. So then Ava doesn't even realize that there's anything different about it. So, I really, whenever she shares, we make it into a big deal, like, yay, good sharing. And, I just actually, because she's really little and like a sponge, so I really do talk to her, because she's picking up a lot of vocabulary right now. So I explained to her why we're sharing. Of course, it doesn't seem like she understands, but on some level she's getting it. And just trying to be really secure in my practice of planting seeds, and in trying to do other things that support me planting seeds, like meditation and yoga. So then she sees that and starts to develop mental images that later will open into her being like, oh, this is just how we do things in the world.
It's really cute. Katey took a video. I was doing yoga and Ava was on the back of my mat. So,
or Ava's dad does a lot of yoga. Probably 2 hours a day. And anyway, Ava just sits there and copies him. So she'll try and hold downward dog, and it's just really cute. So she's copying us. And so it's really important to be a really good example, which is scary and a lot of pressure.
Yes. Well, that's what being a parent is all about, is leading by example. And I was thinking that children are developing their languages at that young age too. They're developing all the language, and so much of our language has an idea that everything is coming at us. And we just are in the habit of blaming others, or it's right embedded in our language. So probably being careful with how we talk about things, even more careful than we would be if we didn't have a toddler listening to us and just absorbing, how we're blaming others,
Yeah.
or blaming the table that we just stubbed our toe on, and we start yelling at the table.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about that with Ava, you know, be really careful not to complain around her, because I don't want, because she does actually react to that, like that energy of complaining. She gets a little like, oh, so I think because complaining really enforces that things are coming at me.
Yeah.
So we actually had a talk like around us, and we're saying, let's try and limit this complaining aspect, even when we're really upset, because we got to be good examples.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
I would have to say also, Katey, something that I notice is we call it, you know, having a crystal lake. And I would have to say that Katey's very good at keeping a crystal lake. She keeps her mind very still, so that, and she does it by really having a still mind around Ava. Just, you know, a calmness that helps all of us remain calm, and especially Ava. So, and that helps our mind, helps us with our focus, and just to feel better.
Well, that's because a long time ago when I was pregnant, this lady gave me some good advice. She said, you know, if you stay calm, your baby will stay calm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It was
listen,
like
who's
that. I
the wise
remember
person said that?
What?
Was that your mom said that?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I got that gift when Katey was 3 and I was working alone in a store. I've always had retail businesses, and I had you might have been younger than that. She was probably 2. And I was really getting upset. She was needing to breastfeed. I had customers, and this older gentleman came in. He gave me those words of advice when some stranger, you know, who was he? I don't know. Some special stranger came up, and he told me, you know, the calmer you are, your baby will be calmer. And I really drank that in, and it worked.
That's really great. So I wanted to just also talk a little bit about something that Janice and I have been doing, and Katey. All 3 of us, after we get back from Sedona College, we give a talk in our town about the material that we learned, DiamondX talk. And one of the ways that people that I know and care about have learned about the seed system is because they want to support us. So they come to these talks, even if they're not super interested in the material yet. So that's been really great. And my daughter, Morgan, has been to, I think, every talk that we've done, and we've done maybe about 8 of them. And actually, in the very beginning, she decided that she would try, because remember, the advice in DCI is you have to try it for yourself. You can't take my word for it that the 4 steps are going to work. So she did try right away. She wanted a job at that time, and she helped a friend get a job, and just by meeting a couple of times, and then right away she got a job. So she started thinking that, oh, maybe this does work. And then now, a couple of years later, I was really happy to get an email from her saying that she tried out these ideas when she had some emotional turmoil with somebody at work. And she actually wrote a thank you email because she thought about how the problem she was seeing as coming this way from the other person, she thought about how she's done that in the past. And right away, the next day, the problem with the person resolved itself, it seemed like. So that was really cool to hear that someone else was testing the ideas out for themselves and trying it for themselves.
Well, and I know of one way, like with my family, I've been very stressed out about vegetarianism, which however you eat is fine. But, you know, I really wanted my dad to be vegetarian, my sister and my mom, because I was like, it's so good for your health. And I was talking to them about it and just annoying them because I was like, I wanted them to do it, and I kept telling them they had to. I even made food for them and they wouldn't eat. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should plant a seed using the 4 steps by being more open-minded to stuff people tell me. Even if I don't agree with it, I'll at least listen. And now everybody's vegetarian pretty much, like 95% vegetarian. They don't really eat meat anymore.
I didn't know you tricked us that way.
Well, I'm really glad you brought it to what seeds we can plant to see people being open to new ideas. So tell me a little more, Katey, about how you did that.
Well, I noticed that sometimes when people have different opinions than me, like especially in this world politically, like I think it's very charged, and I definitely am somewhat stuck in my opinions, or even my opinions about diet and health are very strong. And I wasn't necessarily being open to people when they would come and bring me these ideas. I wouldn't listen to them. I just sort of dismissed them instead of being open and trying to take in what they said, examine it for myself, and then decide. So specifically, I had a friend who's really into raw foods and is convinced that's the healthiest diet. And I mean, she's really, really healthy, so maybe it is. But I wasn't being very open to her. And then I just sat down and listened to her talk and tell me about it. And that's just a small way that I consciously was aware of being open-minded and planting open-minded seeds to see open-mindedness towards vegetarianism.
Oh, that's great. And Janice, we all took, or you and I at least, I'm not sure, I think Katey might have been having a baby at that time, but we did the level on leadership, the DCI level on leadership. Katey, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you were there. I can't remember that.
I didn't take it at SCIM. I attended DCI level on leadership in Germany. I just went as an attendee.
Yeah. Great. And there was some really important seeds that we could plant for being a good leader and being an influencer. I think a lot of it has to do with, of course, being a living example. But I remember something really important that we taught on about being a leader. Do you have any advice about that?
Yeah, well, one thing, we want to be a joyful leader. So, the work we do when I go to work, just have a joyful effort. And that's one of the qualities of a good leader. And the other one is like when we want to be a good leader, we do this little technique from an ancient Indian scholar named Master Shantideva, who says, look and see what other people need. And he called it exchanging self with others, where like, I look at, like, if Katey's working for me, I look back through her eyes at me and see how she's examining me and how I treat her and what she doesn't like about how I treat her. And then as I'm looking through Katey's eyes back at this Janice, I learn what it is that Katey wants from me. And then it plants a seed in me to give it to her. Like, she wants me to treat her like respect, like listen to her ideas, like vegetarian might be a good idea, So it's exchanging self with other, where you just try to look through the other's eyes and see what it is they need and then try to give it to them. And it really plants a seed for a harmonious workplace. And it really plants
harmonious home life.
Yeah, home. Yeah, it works anywhere.
Getting along with family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right, well, I think we should just do a little recap before we wrap up today. So a good seed for being able to be a leader, and what a leader does is that people see what you're doing, or they want to imitate you, or they're inspired to listen to what you say, so that enjoying what you do, having fun doing things that are helpful is a really good seed for that. And then will you guys give me a recap or two on what you think is most important for people to take away about how to share this system without annoying people?
Go ahead.
I mean, really, if you go to share the seed system with someone, you have a 50-50 chance if they're gonna like it or not. And if you want them to like it, I would say plant the seeds ahead of time, so then when you go and you're really excited to talk about it, that they're just open to it.
Or yeah, I was thinking, sometimes public speaking, we get a little nervous and stuff. So I like it like at work, where I just try to keep my calm, try to keep my joy, think about what my employees need, and then they come and ask me what it is that we do. I like that process too. And then we can share and then invite them to our talks.
Okay, great. And we want to remember that trying to force our ideas on other people isn't going to help them. And in fact, if we do something that's really annoying when we're trying with our enthusiasm, someone could permanently not be interested in these ideas. So it is important that we think about it and try to use some skillful ideas to help, share what's helped for us. So.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things you both have said is just being a living example is like the best thing you can do. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the best.
Trying it ourselves and then somehow inspiring other people to try it themselves. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like your daughter, Morgan. She proved it to herself. It works. And now, she'll try it for other things and eventually for everything.
Yeah.
We all want
right.
to be
Well,
like
you guys, we better wrap it up there. Thanks so much for being on the show, Katey. It was really fun having you as a guest.
And thank you, Alex, for hosting. We look forward to seeing everyone again.
Okay. See you all soon. Bye.
Bye.